Hello, it's me, Aaron, and today I wanted to talk about poison swamps and why I just love them. The Swamp of Sorrow is my second favorite Demon Souls area, Blyton is my favorite Dark Souls 1 area, Farron Keep and Nightmare Frontier actually suck, like, I actually suspect those areas to be like government torture methods or something. So yeah, today I want to talk about why I just love some poison swamps and despise others, what makes a good swamp and what makes a bad swamp, and find out why they're always here. So yeah, first I'll analyze the two best poison swamps, Blighttown and Swamp of Sorrows, then the two worst ones, Nightmare Frontier and I'm gonna keep it a surprise, and then I'll talk about the poison of Dark Souls 2 for a little bit, and finally I'll conclude what makes poison swamps good or bad, and why they're still here to this day. So yeah, hope you have your poison moths, and let's begin. The first ever poison swamp, and my god, is it good. The map presents itself like this, and it is really the poison swamp. It's the biggest one with the least platforms to really go on as well. And unlike the other swamps where you could walk on the ground most of the time, you'll need to slowly walk through this swamp. It'll be a slow and stressful experience. You won't be able to see too far in front of you, so most of the time you'll be blindly walking in front of you, with poison slowly killing you, trying to reach loot or a platform to rest on. And the panic upon seeing a depraved one, or way worse, a giant depraved one, is just... You know what? Let me just show you. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sneaky go here and hope I don't get noticed. Please don't notice me, please don't notice me, please don't notice me. I'm dead. This is the end. I'm dead, yep. Yeah, no, I'm dead. I'm not dead. I'm not dead. Okay, take the black grass, take the black grass, take the black grass. Okay. Okay. Okay, guys, I'm gonna make it. Oh, no, please! Ah! Oh, son of a bitch! You son of a bitch. Ah. Oh god, oh, I fucking did it! Get out of my way, you fucking useless slug! Bitch! Bitch! What the fuck? Oh! Oh, fuck! Oh, that's... Oh, fuck! Oh, fuck yeah, baby! Fuck yeah! Fuck you, you slug! Ouch. Okay, they're all more dangerous than I thought, but I'm fine. Okay, if you make me fall off, I will... Alright, good. Oh, I'm so fucking happy. Oh god, I'm surviving, guys. How am I surviving? This is a... How? I feel like all of you were like, yeah, he's gonna die in like 2 seconds. No, I'm gaming, guys. I'm bowling. Wow. Holy shit. What you just saw there is my reaction to escaping, if only for a little bit, the hopelessness of the Swamp of Sorrows after minutes and minutes of walking in the endless sea of poison. And something that amplifies the overall experience is that, unlike the other swamps, dodging will make you use the more than 100% weight animation and make you go even slower than if you just walked. You can't panic roll, and you can't even have small iframes to maybe dodge the hits of the depraved ones. You either fight them, run, or you die. And if you panic and dodge roll, you'll be done for. In a way, it's kind of terrifyingly realistic. Trying to force your way out, like struggle in the quicksand, is gonna do more wrong than good. And if this was not hard enough already, being poisoned in this game makes your healing heal way less. The Swamp of Sorrows, I think, is the most extreme of poison swamps. I mean, it's also the only endgame poison swamp of the series, and you understand why. It's everything that makes the concept of poison swamps hard, but pumped to the maximum. The swamp also being so muddy or something, like you cannot move, you're so vulnerable, and simply seeing an enemy walk towards you can mean death. Everything is a danger in those conditions. And for the enemies, you'll have to either be strong enough to kill them fast, be close enough to an island to have the time to run to it before it catches up to you, or stealth around the map. And I think this level is one of those only stealth levels in the Souls franchise, and I almost wished there would be more patrolling enemies in the swamp, because there's only one that does walk around the map, and it would have been great to have Danger move around to put even more pressure on the player. And the atmosphere, like I already said, you almost just cannot see in front of you. It seems so big, like so fucking big, it's insane. Like, I was baffled when I first saw the area. It really feels like you're never getting out of this, and this is amplified by how easily it is to get lost here. And while this swamp is huge, you still have landmarks like the slug area, and I think this is great. With this level being so big, it really feels like a journey, like no other Souls level feel. And coming back to each landmark is like, ooh, alright, we're halfway there. You know what I mean? But suddenly, you finally see platforms, and the pressure that you have when navigating this pretty normal level part, just because you know how weakened you were by the swamp, and that if you die, you'll have to do this all again, is gigantic. Like, this part of the level is pretty normal, it's just the Valley of Defilement. But Valley of Defilement, after all this, makes it way more than just Valley of Defilement. And unlocking that shortcut, my god, a bigger fromgasm from this than a lot of other bosses. And just one last thing before the boss, you can get the Moonlight Greatsword from hitting a bunch of slugs. Really neat, didn't think I would get such a shiny weapon in such a dead environment like this one. It's really cool having one shining Moonlight Ray in this filth. But anyways, then the boss of the area, and honestly, meh, I would say it's really underwhelming. But honestly, at this point, the challenge of this area, unlike for example Dark Souls 3, isn't the boss, but in fact just the area itself. And I already talked about how I adore that in this video. So I don't really care about the boss, it's not terrible, just really forgettable is all it is. So yeah, that's the Swamp of Sorrows. And honestly, just all of those things perfectly embody, like, the Swamp of Sorrows. A hopeless pit for the deformed, a huge swamp into which all that is unclean flows, a nest of putrilage, vermin, plague, and defilement. 10 out of 10 would take a swim in again. Blyton, Blyton, Blyton. One of my favorite video game area of all time. But now, why is that? Well, first, the level design. It's just amazing. The entire wooden platform path is unlike any other level from any Souls game. It's so interconnected, and it's really a vertical, dark maze that you'll get lost in and navigate unlike you navigated any other level. Jumping from platform to platform, walking on unstable bridges. It's just so awesome and unique. I mean, there's nothing like it. And just like the Swamp of Sorrows, the way to approach encounters is kind of different from the other levels, because every platform is pretty tight, and the only way out is often a ladder. You can't panic roll away or you'll fall off, and you can't run away in most cases because the enemies will hit you off the ladder. It's a really unique environment to explore and fight in. There are some poisoned out hollows scattered through the platforms that will toxic you into doors, so after being hit once, you can spot the hollow to dodge its next projectile, or take cover behind one of the wooden structures. And that's something I really like about Blyton as well. You need to be aware of your environment, because there's many ways to die just by being careless, way more than in any other area this far. There's even infinite mosquito spawners around, that's pretty cool. There's just an endless stock of defiled creatures to throw at you. And then, after making your way down, you'll reach the swamp, and honestly, I think they could have made the area better by getting rid of this bonfire. It makes the comeback to Quelaag way too short, and kind of gets rid of the pressure that the Swamp of Sorrows had. Like, imagine if, at the Filthy Lady, you had a bonfire. It would kind of ruin the area. Well, unfortunately, that's what happened with Blyton, and I think they should have moved the bonfire to earlier in Blyton, and from there, made an accessible shortcut from below. And then there's also the bonfire in early Great Hollow that could have been the main lower Blyton bonfire, because having a bonfire like in the middle of it getting access to pretty much everything with high health and Estus gets rid of the dangers. The things from the Swamp of Sorrow is that it wore you down on a long period. The problem there was that it could be considered kind of tedious, but Upper Blyton isn't tedious and could have been the way to wear down the player enough that they could get then finished by the swamp's slow poison. But this bonfire totally gets rid of that. When you arrive there, Blyton is basically over. All the dangers of the area is gone, since it's not like this weak swamp is gonna do it. All this swamp does is make players consume 1 or 2 Estus before Quailag. I mean, come on, at least half the amount of HP Estus heals when poisoned. But anyhow, the swamp itself is just a swamp. Honestly, it's one of the most basic. The poison just does slow damage, there's little pieces of ground scattered all throughout. The enemies are averagely menacing. Nothing spectacular here, but I'm not saying it's bad either, or anything. It's a good swamp. I mean, it is decent, you know, it's a swamp. And hey, Upper Blyton's already got here in every way, so, I mean, it's alright. Well, alright now, that's about it for Blyton. Probably even better than Swamp of Sorrows. But now that we're done with the best, let's talk about the worst. So, Nightmare Frontier. Let's begin with the surface stuff. Visually, it looks really jarring. It's just really off. Everything is so beige with slight green and red here and there. I like the bleeding tombstones and all, I guess, but it's really just not cool to look at, you know? It's just really boring and like monotone. It all looks pretty much the same. There's real little contrast and I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain, but it's really not pleasing to explore, I guess. Then the enemies. They're mid. Like, those cool looking slugs are barely an issue. Those giants, while adding a bit to the swamp, really aren't an issue. You can't just roll out of anything they throw at you. But I mean, it would be impossible to dodge if you couldn't roll. So I feel like there's no way to make those enemies work here. Like, if you couldn't roll, it would be like if the Swamp of Sorrow's depraved one threw those rocks. It would be terrible. And then there's Winter Lanterns, which I like the idea. They're cool as fuck, but please, I beg. And with the enemies comes balancing, and this area's difficulty is so fucking weird. Like, you can go there super early, like right after Vicar, or you can go there before Yahagol. It's so weird, and in both cases, you do fine. Like, I don't even know what to say. It's like so in between, and like, you can go there, I feel like, at any point in the game, and still be fine. And then the swamp. It's barely a swamp. You just roll through the whole tiny thing with no dangers. Like, poison is short and doesn't do that much damage. Add that with the 20 blood vials, and poison is just non-existent. I mean, I already talked about that in this video. And so this makes the poison swamp feel just uselessly annoying. You just roll through it a little. It barely adds anything to the area, which, alone or not, has a really boring level design overall as well. And the swamp also just doesn't have only one danger that actually isn't one. The bulge of the giants, just as I said, don't hit you since you're moving. Those things, come on, who died from that? So yeah, pretty terrible area. The swamp is useless, the enemies are mid, not interesting or hard. Visually, it puts me to sleep at best and hurts my eyes at worst. Like, it's so fucking bright, but not in a pretty way, you know? Like, the best way I found to describe it is like very high luminosity. And I didn't mention it, but the boss is just decent, I guess, and you get fucking nothing in this area. Like, nothing, only one good rune, and then the chalice. That's it. And now for the second bad swamp, and it's Sekiro and, wait. There's no poison swamps in Sekiro. Oh wait, you mean that one. Yeah, I didn't even remember that. But hey, let's talk about it, I guess. So, you can just fly above it, since you're an anime character, so yeah, why even bother putting that in? Like, even thematically, I'm not sure it has a purpose. I mean, a poison swamp just really doesn't fit into this game. Like, except the swamp itself, nothing else really synergizes to make it good, or like even memorable at all. It's like, just there, alone, doesn't have anything else. and doesn't have like anything added to it that makes it different or like even like have anything except itself alone. So I don't know, fucking. And before the conclusion, quick note on Dark Souls 2's poison. It's cool. Could have been better used. It has potential that wasn't really fully utilized, but where it was used, I liked the more urgent feeling it has. Like, it's poison, you die from it quickly, that's cool. But anyways, alright, so yeah, I think that's it. We talked about the good and the bad of the poison swamps. And now let's try to answer why they're everywhere. Well, first of all, areas ahead because of the story, you know? It's not the story that adapts to the areas, obviously. So it's just that often in From Software's game, there just is a filthy defiled place with disgusting abominations and rotten poison. So it makes sense thematically. Second of all, well, poison swamps and in general poison has a lot of potential game design wise. As you could see in, for example, Blyton, where it was a threat you needed to dodge in the higher paths, as some sort of constant threat that you have to watch out for and take cover from, which is really unique for a Souls game, and in the lower part of Blyton, something that exhausted your limited amount of precious flasks, and having to carefully make your way through an area that has dangerous terrain to stand on, that you can choose to deal with by navigating better, using items, or simply tanking, is cool. It's a simple but efficient environmental hazard that adds a threat to the area the player must manage in whatever way they found fit. So yeah, the reason is that it simply has game design potential, and it makes sense thematically. Anyways, that's about it. Thank you for watching. Your presence until the end is appreciated, and bye I guess.